Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you know, I'm Stephanie, and today we're doing another Bookmas video. If you don't know, I'm doing a bunch of videos for the entire month of Christmas, so Bookmas and Vlogmas, because my channel is very much book content but also lifestyle vlogs, so you're gonna get both, two in one. So make sure to subscribe. But today we're doing one of my favorite authors, kind of like a reading guide, but also just all the books I read by them. So if you haven't read, this is your sign to do so. Here, I'm gonna bring it in. Also, is this sweater not the cutest? It literally says all booked for Christmas. It's a bunch of books but as a Christmas tree, and I love it, and I got it from TikTok if anyone cares. I think I'm gonna just tell you how I read the books, and then I'm gonna, I guess, tell you what's the best reading order. A quick preface: Rina, she writes a lot of alpha males, but it's also important to know that check your trigger warnings, and they're very much possessive assholes, but it's the best mafia, crazy, unhinged psychopath boyfriends that you could ever have. So this is the reading order I did. These right here, which you're probably like, what are those books? I've never seen those books. I actually really hate the covers, so I ended up just putting my own cover to them. It's literally just black paper. This is the Deception trilogy by Rina. We have About Deception, we have Tempted by Deception, and finally we have Consumed by Deception. This was the first Rina books I read, and I think because I read this first, I do not like this trilogy. I did not like Adrian at all, which I know a lot of people love him. I feel like I need to reread this book maybe and give it another try, because then my opinion will change, because now I know what type of men she writes. But the first time I read it, I was very confused, but at the same time you're supposed to be confused, because it's literally called Deception trilogy, so you're not supposed to know what actually is happening. However, how you should actually read these books is book 2, book 1, and the book 3. Now, the reason I want to read it in this order is because book 2, you really get their romance story. You get everything about them. You get their very beginning, which I feel like is very much necessary. And book 1, it kind of jumps into the middle. It jumps into like what's currently happening. And I was so confused on why this man was sexually touching this woman when she does not know him, when she did not like him. It very much felt like, what is he doing to you? Like, I do not like this. And you're very confused in this book. And then I will read book 3 as it is. We have the Throne of Vengeance duet. I read this. I read book 1, Throne of Power and Throne of Vengeance. I loved it. At this point, I kind of knew what kind of man Rina was writing, yet I loved it. The Royal Elite series. There are 7 books. The first 3 books is one couple. It's Aiden and Elsa. Broken Knight, which is book 4. This is Kimberly and Xander. And we have Vicious Prince, which is book 5. The Ruthless Empire. And then we have the epilogue book. I read the Kingdom duet, which we have Reign of a King and Rise of a Queen, and this is Jonathan King. This is Aiden's dad from the first 3 books of the Royal Elite. And then we finally jump into the second generation, which is the God of Legacy series, which I love so much. We have God of Malice, which this is the kids of a book I do not own, but this is Killian Carson. And Killian is actually the nephew of Rye from the Throne of Power, Throne of Vengeance duet. After this, we had God of Pain, which God of Pain is Creighton's story with Anika. Anika is the daughter of Adrian and Leah from the Deception trilogy. I do not like that book. I did not like Anika. Creighton is the son of Aiden and Elsa from the Royal Elite. And then after God of Pain, we have God of Wrath. And that one is the book of Jeremy and Cecily. Cecily is the daughter of Kimberly and Knight, which is this book. Jeremy is the son of Adrian and Leah from the Deception trilogy. And then we have God of Ruin, my baby. I loved it. This is Landon King, which he's the son of Levi King. Mia is the daughter of Kyle and Rye. Are the reading order I did. Now, I will say there is a couple, there's 9 books I have yet to read by Rina. I kind of want to do a reading vlog to reading those books, and I will in 2024. I need to buy them all and actually do a reading vlog. It's just pretty much gonna be me reading the rest of Rina Kent's books. Okay, I do want to say Rina Kent does have a reading order on how to read her books. I'll put it up here on the screen so you guys can see. And this is the reading order I'm also gonna follow once I read her other books. Royal Elite, because I feel like this is the most, not most popular, but I feel like you need to start kind of here. So there is book 0. I do not own it, which is Levi King and Astrid, and Levi King is Aiden's cousin from this book right here. So the first 3 books consist of Deviant King, we have Steel Princess, and we have Twisted Kingdom. These books were amazing. I love them. It's a trilogy. It was really good because there's so much plot in these books. And I will say Rina Kent's books do feel the same, but they're really worth it. So we have Elsa, who goes to this new school. And the first day she goes to that school, Aiden pretty much walks up to her and he chokes her. Which sounds insane. And he's pretty much like, I'm gonna destroy your life. And he pretty much bullies the shit out of her throughout the year. Is always there, and the romance kind of starts, which is ironic, and you along the way find out what has happened and why he hates her, and it's so very valid. Not her, but who he actually hates. And it's just filled with so much plot that once you get to it, you're like, wow, I did not expect that. And I loved it. It was so beautiful. Like, I love the romance. It's pretty much enemies to lovers, but they're sort of connected since childhood, sort of. Next few books pretty much follow their friends. Black Knight, which this one is actually my least favorite. This is Kimberly and Xander. Kimberly is best friends with Elsa, and we see her, and we have a Xander. These are actually neighbors. They're neighbors, and they were best friends when they were kids. And something happened. The reason why Xander hates her, in my opinion, is very stupid. It's such a big miscommunication thing, but he hates her. And Kimberly, please check your trigger warnings, because Kimberly goes through too much. She pretty much gets bullied at school, and this one hurt the most because she takes a drastic action, and I hate it so much. But that's why I kind of don't like Xander, because he kind of led to what happened to her. But overall, it was a good book. And then we finally have Vicious Prince. Now we have Teal Ronan. Now Ronan is that friend in the group where he is just very funny. Like, he throws parties. He doesn't really care about life. However, his childhood is very traumatic, and you'll know why, and you'll see why he acts a certain way. And Teal has also a very traumatic childhood. Like, this girl went through it. Teal is actually sort of step siblings with one of the characters here. I cannot say because I feel like it could be spoiler unless you read that book, but it's the romance. It's very much opposite attracts. Like, Ronan and Teal, just, you would never think they would get together. And Teal goes to this very specific club, if you know what I mean, and Ronan is there, and he's pretty much like, what are you doing here? And then things change between them, and he's like, you're only gonna come to me when you need those type of things. Outlining here is really good too, because you kind of don't expect it. Then we have Ruthless Empire, one of my second favorite. It's my second favorite. I love this so much. We have Silver. Silver is the mean girl in this whole series. She's such a bitch. It's kind of like the book nerd. I hate describing it that way because it feels like it's not giving enough of what it actually is. And Cole and her, I can't remember how, but they're connected from childhood, and I don't know if they were like best friends, or I don't know what exactly they were, but they pretty much promised their first to each other, and it's years later. And in this book, they're step siblings. Silver is going through so much in this book. Oh my god, the plot line in this one is probably the best. This one and Aiden and Elsa's was the best. Like, I did not expect what happened in here to happen. The Royal Elite epilogue. This one was just epilogues for pretty much all of them, all the couples with, they have kids here. I recommend you to read this. This is Reign of a King and Rise of a Queen. This is Jonathan King, and he is the dad of Aiden, and here he pretty much gets with his dead wife's sister. It's really interesting. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. Jonathan in this whole series was very cold. Like, we didn't know, are we supposed to like him? We didn't know. But he was really amazing in these books. Like, I really love Laura has like this watch company, and I think he kind of bullies her to get invested because like her watch company is going downhill very fast. And it's the romance, like it's very much, he's the alpha bully, but it was really good. We have finally, as I mentioned, the Deception trilogy and the Throne duet, which is book 1 and book 2. We have Throne of Power and Throne of Vengeance. These two are my favorites. This is mafia, so keep this in mind. Rai and Kaio know each other because at one point he was her bodyguard, and then at one point he comes back and he's trying to get revenge on someone. Like, he comes back to kind of infiltrate and be a spy, if you will, and Rai is catching up to him. Now, the reason I love this is because Rai is very much an it girl. She has so much power. Like, she is kind of running part of the mafia because her grandfather is actually the main Pakan, and she's very much like, I want to lead the mafia with you, like let me lead it. And she has tasks in there, and I think at one point the grandfather's like, okay, it's time for my actual daughter to get married, and Rai's like, your daughter's too young, like you cannot marry her off. So then the Pakan is like, okay, then who am I gonna marry off? And then it's like Rai is getting married and Rai and Kaio end up getting like an arranged marriage, kind of marriage of convenience. But it's so much more than this. This kind of plays with an amnesia trope in book 2, and it's so good. Of the Deception trilogy, I guess the actual plot line and storyline of this is that Mia is this ballet dancer and Adrian is this mafia guy that's in the Russian Brava, and he kind of sees her, like he sees her one day and he's just like, you're gonna be mine. That's all I can really say. I read these two. Adrian and Leah start a relationship, but when we start the book where Leah has amnesia and she does not remember who she is. She's having a bunch of trouble, and Adrian is her husband at this point, but Adrian doesn't want, because I guess with amnesia you're not supposed to tell them who they are and everything. Like, you're supposed to let them know or find out who they are. And he kind of lets her go, and he lets her believe that she is this other person who she's actually not, and she becomes like homeless, she becomes all these things. And eventually Adrian like kind of lies to her, and he's like, I'll give you a lot of money if you pretend to be my wife. And that's the only way he gets her to come home. And that's pretty much kind of like the plot line. Obviously there's more to it because in reality that is his wife, like she has amnesia. Just read this, but just know he's like, the beginning is not like, I just wish I would have read it in my order. We have God of Malice, which I really love this book. This is Psychopath. We have Glendon, which I will say this, Glendon is very bland to me. She did not give anything to me. I don't care for her, but I love this book for Killian. Now Glendon, something has happened to her and she's pretty much, check your trigger warnings, but she's pretty much about to commit suicide. And Killian sees her and he's just like, he doesn't let her commit suicide, and he kind of gets her and he bullies her, and he's just like, I know this about you and I can tell your family. And it's their romance. Now this series, it's rival schools. So we have people from the Royal Elite series, like their kids, but we also have the kids from the mafia world. So it's a mix of both, and they both go to separate colleges that are right next to each other. And it's like rival schools, rivals, like enemies to lovers, most of the books. And yeah, so we have this book, and I think it was really good. Just know that the very beginning of this book is very much bam. Be prepared for it, because it can feel like it's a certain thing when it's actually not. God of Pain, I hate this book. I don't want to talk about it at all. But this one, once again, rivals from rival schools. Anika is very much sunshine and he's grumpy. Now they end up having like the same friend group, because Anika becomes friends with Ava and Cecily from the Royal Elite side, and they're roommates. So she's always around. The thing that really bothered me is that she was too much sunshine. She was too much quirky, and I did not like that. I do not like that in a character. But then things really happen because they're rivals. And let's just say there's one specific event. If you know which one, I hate it. I ended up hating her for it. I get why she did it. I still hate it. I still don't like her. And that's it. That's all I have to say. And in my opinion, Aiden and Elsa shouldn't have accepted her after what she did. Like, she did that to your son regardless if it was an accident. No thank you. We're moving on into God of Wrath. This one actually I really enjoyed, but you know who ruined it for me? Anika. Of course she did, because this is obviously her brother's romance story with Cecily. Once again, rival schools, they get together with the rivals. And in this one, Cecily is actually in love with Landon, and something happens where like she's trying to get information on the rival school. Jeremy sees her and he pretty much grabs her and they start something together. And obviously at one point he gets jealous because Cecily likes Landon, and it's really good and interesting. But the reason I don't like it is because of what happened in God of Pain with Anika and what she did. Her brother ends up not hating, but he ends up like kind of breaking up with Cecily, and he takes it out on her because Cecily stopped talking to Anika. And that just pissed me off because I was just like, she has full right, Cecily, to stop talking to Anika for what she did, because at the end of the day, Creighton was her childhood friend, childhood family. So in my point, I was just like, you ruined this book for me because it was going so good. At the final one, we have God of Ruin. This one I really loved. It's amazing. It's psychopath. We have Landon and Mia, as I mentioned before. Landon is a psychopath. No one really is close with him other than Ava. Ava and him are probably the closest that he actually has friends to. And he is also Ellie's cousin, obviously. This is very much enemies to lovers. It's not even about the rivals. It's just very much enemies to lovers. And Mia hates Landon because he's just very arrogant. He's very much a lot of things. She is a selective mute. And it's the romance. I can't even tell you how they get together, but at one point they start getting together, and just the things he does for her, like he starts to plant for her, like he's always sculpting her. He literally, Mia has this childhood traumatic event that happens to her that causes her to be a selective mute, and he helps her pretty much overcome it. He gets her to start talking again, and he saves her life. There's so much goodness with this, and I loved it. All of Rina Kent's books that I have read, that I love, that I think you should read. He writes very good plot lines, and if you haven't read it, you need to read her. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like this video, comment down below which books of hers are your favorite if you have read her, and subscribe for more videos. And until next time.